Good morning. Welcome to the informative session of the Call 2021 of the Lakasha Fellowships Program. My name is Paula Izeta, and I am the coordinator of the Doctoral INPhINIT Fellowships Program. And today, with my colleague Gisela Corominas, we will provide you with some relevant information about our postgraduate fellowships abroad and our Doctoral INPhINIT Fellowships, and about how to apply for one of them. The presentation will last approximately 40 minutes, and afterwards we will open the floor to your questions. You can write down your questions in the YouTube chat. However, I suggest you to wait until the end of the presentation because it is likely that your doubt will be clarified during the presentation. The whole session should not last more than 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. If we run out of time, don't worry. You can send us an email with your question to fellowships@fundacionlacasha.org, and we will reply to you as soon as possible. The presentation is divided in two sections. The first one about the main characteristics of our fellowships, and the second one about how difficult it is to obtain a fellowship and how the applications are evaluated. Let's start with the first part, and then Gisela will present the second part. What is the Lakasha Foundation Fellowships Program? The Fellowships Program is one of the oldest programs of the Lakasha Foundation. The first call was launched in 1982. It means that the call we just opened is the number 40. Since 1982, we granted more than 5,000 fellowships, for many years only for Spanish students to pursue postgraduate studies abroad. Later, we began to award also doctoral fellowships to candidates of any nationality. And most recently, we started to fund also postdoctoral research projects. Our budget for this year almost reaches 30 million euros. And from the beginning of the fellowship program, the total accumulated investment of the foundation has been more than 300 million euros. We think that this amount is a clear proof of the strong commitment of the foundation towards supporting talent, research, and innovation. What kind of fellowships we offer? In the Call 2021, we offer a total number of 230 fellowships with a budget of 32 million euros. These fellowships are distributed in three main blocks. 120 fellowships for pursuing postgraduate studies abroad, 65 fellowships for pursuing doctoral studies in Spain and Portugal, and 45 for doing postdoctoral research in Spain and Portugal. Our postgraduate fellowships abroad are aimed at Spanish and Portuguese students to take up postgraduate studies such as master or PhD or predoctoral stays, postdoctoral research stays in universities in Europe, North America, and Asia Pacific. The total number of fellowships for this year, as I said before, is 120 fellowships, and the average cost per fellowship is around 84,600 euros. However, the cost of the fellowship can vary a lot. For example, a master in the US is far more expensive than a master in France or in Denmark. These fellowships, as I said before, are aimed at taking up postgraduate studies such as master or PhD studies, or for carrying out predoctoral research projects in all areas of knowledge and in the universities of any European higher education country, in the United States, Canada, Australia, South Korea, India, Japan, Singapore, and China. Candidates must have the Spanish or Portuguese nationality, and the duration of the fellowship is in principle of 1 year, renewable up to a maximum of 24 months. The fellowship amount covers several concepts. The tuition fees with no maximum amount, then the expenses for one round trip to the destination country, an initial and the final amount for the settling in expenses, a monthly allowance that can vary depending on the destination country, an accident and emergency insurance, and finally, the cost of up to a maximum of 5 applications for admission in the university, and the visa fees if it is necessary. The eligibility criteria that must be fulfilled to apply for this fellowship are the following. Candidates must have obtained a higher education degree between January 2021 and July 2021. Applicants cannot apply to take up studies in the same country where they obtained their bachelor degree. For example, a candidate with a bachelor obtained in UK cannot apply to pursue a master's study in the UK. Portuguese candidates can apply for studying in any of the eligible country, as I said before, except Portugal, and it is the same for Spanish candidates that can apply for studying in any of the eligible country except Spain. A maximum of 4 fellowships for pursuing a master in business administration, the MBA, may be awarded per call. And these fellowships are exclusively for full-time attendant-based studies. Thanks to a collaboration agreement with Microbank in Spain and with BPI in Portugal, loans with special conditions are offered to excellent non-selected candidates who applied for this program, the Postgraduate Fellowship Abroad program. The excellent candidates are the ones who have passed the preselection phase, but they didn't obtain the fellowship at the end, and also all candidates who have been rated as excellent in the evaluation. Concerning the Doctoral INPhINIT Fellowships, to pursue PhD studies in Spain and Portugal, this year we offer 65 fellowships, divided in 2 frames, the retaining frame and the incoming frame. Later on, I will explain you in detail what is the incoming frame and the retaining frame and the differences between these 2 frames. The fellowship duration is of 1 year, renewable up to a maximum of 3 years. The total amount, the maximum total amount of the fellowship is 122,592 euros, broken down as follows: 3 annual payments of 34,800 euros covering salary, 3,564 euros per year to cover the expenses related to the PhD project, and a price of 7,500 euros for fellows who succeed in submitting the thesis within the 6 months after the end of the fellowship, the 3 years of the fellowship. This fellowship also includes a training program focused on transversal skills. This program includes 3 annual gatherings. Normally, these gatherings are face-to-face. However, this year, due to the COVID-19 situation, we had to carry out these gatherings online. But we really hope to resume the face-to-face meetings as soon as possible, because they are very enriching, and also because they allow our fellows and us to get to know each other better. As I said before, this program and also the postdoctoral fellowship program is divided into frames, the incoming frame and the retaining frame. For the incoming frame, we offer 35 fellowships. The objective in this case, for this frame, is to attract the best international researchers at the best Spanish and Portuguese research centers of excellence. In this frame, Um, Candidates of any nationality can apply, but they have to fulfill a mobility requirement. Specifically, for doing research in Spain, candidates must have resided less than 12 months in the last 3 years in Spain. And for doing research in Portugal, candidates must have resided less than 12 months in the last 3 years in Portugal. In this frame, only PhD projects in STEM disciplines are admitted and will be funded. Also in this frame, candidates can apply only for doing a PhD in specific Spanish and Portuguese research centers, as I said before, research centers and units that are in possession of an excellent distinction. Later on, I will explain you more in detail which are these distinctions. And also in this frame, these host organizations are the one offering specific PhD positions, and candidates must choose among these offered positions. For the retaining frame, we offer 30 fellowships. The objective in this case is to retain the best researchers at the university and research centers in Spain and Portugal. Also in this case, can apply candidates of any nationality. And the candidate in this case has to fulfill the mobility rule, but in the opposite ways. Is the opposite way. So specifically, for doing research in Spain, candidates must have resided more than 12 months in the last 3 years in Spain. And for doing research in Portugal, candidates must have resided more than 12 months in the last 3 years in Portugal. In the case of the retaining frame, all projects in all disciplines are admitted and will be funded. Candidates can apply for doing any official PhD program can enroll in any official PhD program in all research center and university in Spain and Portugal. As I mentioned before, for the incoming frame, the organization that can host the PhD fellows are in Spain, the research center in possession of these excellent distinctions, the Severo Ochoa excellent distinctions, the Maria de Maeztu one, and also the Carlos III Health Institutes. And for Portugal, the host institutions can be the research units evaluated by the Fundação para a Ciência e Tecnologia with the qualification excellent. The eligibility criteria to apply for a Doctoral INPhINIT Fellowship are the following. The candidate must be in possession of a higher degree that enable him or her to enroll in an official PhD program in accordance with the regulation in force. Also, the candidate must present specific English certificates that are detailed in our call rules. Applicants must also be in their first 4 years of research careers. The reference date to start counting these 4 years is usually the end date of the master studies. Besides, you will not be considered eligible if you have already been enrolled in the same doctoral studies you wish to apply for, thanks to the fellowship prior to the 2021-2022 academic year. For the retaining frame, selected candidates must enroll in a PhD program at a different university from the one where they obtain their bachelor studies. And finally, as I explained you before, candidates must fulfill the mobility rule. That depends on the frame, the incoming or the retaining one. And finally, and very briefly, we have also a postdoctoral fellowships program to foster, with the objective to foster innovative, high-quality careers in science. These fellowships are aimed at candidates who want to doing postdoctoral research in Spain and Portugal. And in the 2021 call, we offer 45 fellowships. At the moment, the call is already closed. But just for your information, we offer 30 fellowships for the incoming frame and 15 fellowships for the retaining frame. Candidates must have finished their doctoral degree 2 to 7 years prior to the deadline for application. The duration of the fellowship is 3 years, and in this program, for the incoming and also for the retaining frame, the only project admitted are the ones in STEM disciplines exclusively. The maximum amount of the fellowship is 305,100 euros, broken down as follows: 3 maximum payments per year of 97,500 euros, including a maximum of 59,000 euros covering the salary, and 38,500 euros for the expenses related to the research project. Then there's also a family allowance of 1,200 euros per child and a mobility allowance of 5,400 euros. And also for this program, the Lakasha Foundation organizes a training program, in this case focused on innovation and leadership. And after explaining the main characteristics of our fellowships, especially the financial ones, which are very important, we cannot forget other very important aspects that go beyond the funding. The annual gatherings organized by Lakasha Foundation, like the orientation days for the postgraduate program and the trainings for the doctoral and the postdoctoral programs, are key to reinforce the sense of belonging to the Lakasha Fellows Network and to establish links among our fellows, and also to get to know each other also with the Lakasha Foundation team. Another important element is the Lakasha Fellows Association, which is built up of more than 5,000 Lakasha Fellows coming from all disciplines, sectors, and countries. This association works in strict collaboration with us to organize many interesting activities, mainly to promote networking and collaboration among its members. The association also organizes the conferences, Horizons Talks and Lectures, where fellows usually invite highly renowned speakers to talk about topics of current interest. And now I leave the floor to my colleague Gisela Corominas, who will start explaining you how difficult it is to be awarded a fellowship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paula. So I will now show you first some data so you can have an idea on how difficult is it to be awarded a fellowship. And then I will go into more detail about the selection stages of our evaluation process and what information has to be included in an online application. As you can see here in this graphic, these are the number of applications we have received in the last 10 years. As you can see, last year, the call 2020, we received 3,173 applications. Okay, so taking into account the number of fellowships that were awarded, there were 230, and taking into account these submitted applications, the success rate for last year was 7.2%. So it means that, well, it gives you an idea on how competitive are our fellowships programs. The 3,173 submitted applications last year were distributed among our different programs as it follows. The program which received the highest number of applications was the Doctoral INPhINIT Fellowships program, for which we received 1,344 applications. Then for the postgraduate studies abroad, we received 1,217 applications. And then for our postdoctoral junior leader fellowships program, we received 612 applications. Okay, the graphic I will show you now gives you an idea about how many applications passed or didn't pass at each selection stage on our last year's call. The 3,173 applications that were sent in due time, so the submitted applications, passed to the first evaluation stage, which is the eligibility check stage. During this stage, 422 applications did not fulfill one or more eligibility criteria, thus they were rejected, and the rest, so these 2,751 applications were eligible, and then they passed on the next selection stage, which is the pre-selection stage, which is done remotely. During this stage, 461 applications passed to the interviews selection stage, which is the final selection stage, and the rest, so these 2,290 applications were disregarded. Okay, and then 230 selected candidates out of the 461 that were pre-selected were awarded a fellowship. So this shows you that the pre-selection stage is like the toughest stage in terms of that is when the majority of the applications submitted are disregarded. And also you can see that we interview 2 candidates per fellowship because there were 461 pre-selected applicants, and then this resulted in 230 fellows. Now, I think that these figures are also interesting because they show what of our programs is the most competitive one, because it gives you the idea of the submitted applications per fellowship awarded. So as you can see, our Doctoral INPhINIT retaining program is the most competitive one, as we received 25.7 applications per fellowship awarded. Okay. So how are the applications evaluated? Well, first of all, our selection procedure follows the recommendations of the European Peer Review Guide of the European Science Foundation. All our procedures are described and are publicly available in our website. These documents, these guidelines for evaluation, are also provided to our expert evaluators so that the expert evaluators follow all these guidelines based on the peer review guide of the European Science Foundation. In the call 2020, 365 experts took part in the evaluation of our programs. The experts use a scoring scale to assess the evaluations according to the different criteria that I will explain you later on. They use a scale from 1 to 8, being 1 very poor and 8 exceptional. So let's take a look now to the selection process. All our fellowship programs have a 3-stage selection process. The stage 1 is the eligibility check, as I have already mentioned before. In this stage, the applications are revised in order to verify the fulfillment of the eligibility criteria that Paula has already detailed during her presentation. In the stage 2 is the preselection, which is carried out remotely, is the remote selection. In this phase, each application is evaluated remotely by 2 or 3 experts of the same or similar discipline of the applicant's field of research. And then the preselected applications pass to the 3rd stage, which is the final stage, which is carried out through a face-to-face interview. Okay. So now I will explain in more detail what is the preselection, the remote evaluation. But first, I will just mention that it's really important during the application that candidates indicate the preselection panel that you want to evaluate it by. In the application, you will have to select it, and it's really important that you think about what is the panel of preselection you want to be evaluated by, because your application will be assigned to one or another panel according to your choice. Panels of preselection are formed by experts in the 2 or 3 experts in the same or similar disciplines of the candidate's field of research. So that means that, for example, all those applications that have selected the physics preselection panel will be evaluated by experts in physics. The experts evaluate the application individually, remotely, and independently. So that means that they do not know who the other evaluators are. Once they have concluded, scores are normalized and compared, and if any discrepancy among the scoring of evaluators arises, these applications are automatically sent again to the evaluators so that they can check that there are no errors. Then the preselection score as a result of the evaluator of the evaluation of every expert is calculated. And then those applications which are at the top of the preselection panel are the ones that goes to the final selection stage, so the face-to-face interviews. All these procedures that I am explaining are, as I have already mentioned, available on our website. So these are the criteria that the evaluators take into account to assess the applications in this preselection stage. For the postgraduate abroad and the doctoral INPhINIT programs, the criteria are the same and also the weights. First of all, the most critical aspect, the one that has more weight, is the qualifications NCV, which has a weight of 50%. Then the motivation and statement of purpose, which has a weight of 30%, and then the reference letters, 20%. Then for the postdoctoral junior leader program, the excellence of the CV has a weight of 50%, the motivation and research project 30%, and then the reference letters also 20%. So the preselected applications pass on the third and final stage of evaluation through a face-to-face interview carried out by multidisciplinary committees. So these committees are composed of between 5 and 7 experts. We normally set up 4 different committees, though it depends on the program. Normally the committees are Arts and Humanities, another committee of Social Sciences, another one for Life and Health Sciences, and another one for Engineering, Physics, and Mathematics. The fellowships to be awarded by each committee are calculated according to the number of applications received. This procedure is also explained, and you will also find it in our website. It is important to highlight that candidates who arrive at this stage are the ones that are at the top of each panel, as I have said before. But as each committee includes different disciplines within the same area of knowledge, candidates coming from different panels within the same committee will be competing. That is important because you may be placed in the top on your preselection panel in the preselection phase, but then in the interview, as you are competing with the top candidates of the other preselection panels, you may be placed in a lower position than expected. In order to calculate your final score, the preselection score is taken into account as if it was another evaluator of the committee. Now I show you the evaluation criteria that the expert take into consideration to assess the applicants for this final selection stage. For the postgraduate abroad and the doctoral INPhINIT program, the first and most critical aspect is the candidate's potential, which has a weight of 40%. Then the motivation and statement of purpose with a weight of 30%, and also 30% the academic and professional background. For the postdoctoral junior leader, the academic and professional career is 50% and the candidate's potential 30%, and the motivation and impact of the project 20%. As you can see, for the postgraduate abroad doctoral INPhINIT program, the candidate's potential is the aspect which has more weight. So we consider that the best way that the experts can evaluate this aspect, that it's about how the candidate is capable of doing the project or the studies that he or she intends to pursue, the best way to assess this aspect is, and also the others, but especially this one, is doing a face-to-face interviews. Okay. How can I apply? Sorry, I forgot to mention, this is also important, that you will receive feedback of the evaluation both in the preselection stage and in the interviews stage. So you will be given information for each criterion and how you are ranked, so the quartile where you are located in each criterion. So how can I apply? This is the link that you have to have access in order to open an application. First, you need to register to our website for applications, and then once registered, you can choose the program for which you want to open an application. Okay. Then the application on the online application looks like that. Okay, there are like several sections, as you can see in the menu on the left. First of all, the personal data. This personal data is extracted from the register form. And then there is the section about the studies to be pursued. Here you have to write what studies or what PhD position or PhD program you would like to pursue with the fellowship. It's important to select the first preference, but then if you have other alternative or are thinking about other programs, you can also write it down in your statement of purpose, because the one that you select the first that you select in this section is not binding. So in the event that you win a fellowship, you can change opinion and choose another PhD program or another PhD position. But take into account that if you change opinion, this other choice has to be in line with the application you already submitted. Then there is also the statement of purpose section, where you have to write a summary of what you want to do and then attach the PDF of the statement of purpose. Then the reference letters. You must add between 3 and 5 letters, but 3 is the minimum to be able to submit your application. This is the only section which is out of your hands, in terms that the sending of these letters does not depend on you, but on the referees. So that is why we encourage you to contact the referees well in advance, so that they can have time to prepare this information, this reference letter, and they have time to submit it. Okay, because you will not be able to close and send and submit the application if these letters are not properly received on time. There is also the CV section, where you will add the information on the studies you have already pursued and other information such as the language certificate and so on, or also professional experience if you have, or other activities that you would like to include. And in the document section, you have the space to upload the transcripts of records, the language certificate, and other additional documents if you think that you want to add more information that it's necessary to properly evaluate your application. Then, as I have already mentioned, this is how it looks, the section where you have to choose your preselection panel. In this example, the candidate has chosen the Life Science 4. So the panel that will, the preselection panel that will evaluate this application will be the Life Science 4. So that means that an expert on agriculture or veterinary science or animal production will, between 2 and 3 experts of these disciplines will evaluate this application. And here you can see the different preselection panels that are inside this area of knowledge of the life science. Okay, there are like 5 different preselection panels, as you can see. Now I would like just to provide you some tips that may help you to prepare your application. First of all, please read carefully the rules for the program that you want to apply, and the frequently asked questions. They are very helpful because they contain examples that may be interesting for you. And also, if anyway you have any doubt that you think that it's not clarified today, or you do not see clear when reading the rules and the frequently asked questions, you can also write us an email, and we will try to give you an answer as soon as possible. As I have said before, the letters of reference, please, in order to receive it in due time, please contact the referees sufficiently in advance. The statement of purpose, this is the most personal document of your whole application. Be clear and concise, be attractive in order for the experts to have a good idea of what you want to do and if you are capable or not according to your background. We also recommend you to ask for expert advice, to let them read your statement of purpose. So to receive their advice, maybe another colleague or a former fellow, or maybe a professor or an expert that you know. Then, yeah, for in order to finish this section, the deadline. We are very strict with the deadline. Every program has a specific deadline, but the time closure is always at 2 p.m. in Spain. So all the applications that have received after 2 p.m. will not be accepted. So please start to prepare your application and collect the required documents to be attached well in advance. So thank you for your attention. You can follow us, yes, in these social networks, in Facebook, in Twitter. You have also the email address where you can send us your queries. And then now it is time for your questions. In order to answer your questions, I will introduce you my colleagues. Carlos Vidal Cuadras, he's from the Postgraduate Studies Abroad. Then Ana Mauri, also from the Postgraduate Studies Abroad team, and then Ana Bustamante, who is part of the doctoral program fellowships. So the first question.
Yes, the first question is, do our degrees from a non-EU university need to be evaluated by EU equivalents prior to applying for the fellowship, or will the original transcript in English suffice? And the answer is that for postgraduate studies, these degrees have to be evaluated for EU equivalents prior to applying for the fellowships. If your bachelor studies were pursued in a country outside the European higher education area, you have to append to your application the official declaration of equivalence to an official academic degree or level issued by the corresponding official institution in Spain or Portugal, depending on your nationality. And in the case of the doctoral studies in Spain, the Doctoral INPhINIT program, these EU equivalents would not be necessary, but you have to make sure that you are admitted in the university you want to pursue your PhD program.
Okay, thank you, Anna. I would like to comment a minor typo. I would like to comment a minor typo mistake you have seen in one of the slides of the presentation. It relates to the postgraduate state fellowships abroad. You have seen that one of the requirements to apply for these fellowships is have a higher education degree obtained between January 2021 and July 2021. So the mistake is that it has to be obtained between January 2012 and July 2021. So any candidate who has a higher degree between January 2012 and July 2021 can apply for the fellowships. Thank you.
Sorry. They just told me that that my micro was muted. Sorry. Well, I repeat the question. The question for the doctoral fellowships: do the advisor of the proposed project have a saying on which candidate is the best choice for the position? I assume that this question is for the incoming frame. Specifically, the answer is no, because the candidacies we receive are evaluated by independent evaluators. There's only one case when the supervisor, the future supervisors, the group leaders related to the position have a say, is when two selected fellows want to do the same project. Okay, only in this case is the group leader who decides the candidate that best fits the position. But otherwise, there's the supervisor, the advisor has no word in the evaluation.
We have another question for doctoral. You ask, quite a few of you are asking about the timings for your studies. In the case of doctoral studies, if you're going to ask for a fellowship for the Doctoral INPhINIT, if you are doing your master at the moment and you won't finish it until July or next summer anyway, that wouldn't be a problem. So people that are still studying their master can apply for the INPhINIT fellowships now. The only requisite would be that they have finished the studies, and obviously they must have passed them when they are ready to start for the doctoral, their PhD, if they do, if you do win the fellowship, hopefully.
And in the case of the postgraduate fellowships abroad, you have to earn all the credits of the bachelor between January 2012 and July 2021. Then you are eligible.
Okay, now a question for the doctorate program. If I worked in the industry after my master's degree, does that still count as research career? Well, it depends on the activity that you carried out in the industry. If it was not related to research, it would not count as a research activity. But anyway, in the online application, in the CV section, you have a subsection which is called work experience. Here you have to briefly explain the activities you did in the industry, and then we will explore if it's considered research or not, and if we need more information in order to clarify exactly what this activity was, we will contact you after the closure date of the sending the applications. But in principle, if just activity related to management, project management maybe, or something like that, it's not, we do not count it as a research career.
Okay, there's another question for the doctoral team. A question regarding geographic mobility. My question is whether the dates are counting upon having the valid resident permit, the NIE, for example, or physical residing time, empadronamiento. Well, it depends. Normally we ask for many documents to prove the fulfillment of the mobility rule, but in principle, the most important aspect is the physical one. Okay, so in this case, I would answer the empadronamiento, but it depends. Normally, we study these cases on a case-by-case basis. Okay, and normally we verify this aspect once if the fellowship is awarded. Afterwards, we verify the fulfillment of this criteria, and if the selected candidate is unable to prove that he or she fulfilled the mobility rule, the fellowship will be withdrawn.
Okay, and then someone asks, what kind of English certificate do I have to present on the submission? Is the Duolingo certified test right for applying? The Duolingo certified test is not right for applying. It is not allowed. But you should take a look at the rules of the programs because you have several options and several options of other language certificates, and also we have several options to do them online this year, so take a look at them. And our recommendation is that you sit the exams as soon as possible so that you have the results on time.
Some of you have asked as well about the mobility. Which time frame is considered when we want to count those 12 months in the last 3 years, in the prior 3 years? The time frame is the 12 months in the 3 years immediately prior to the deadline for applications. The deadline for applications is the 25th of February. So we will be looking at the mobility between the 25th of February 2018 and the 25th of February 2021. We also have another question asking if the retaining fellowships can be awarded to a PhD in management. Yes, retaining any discipline can be considered in the retaining flame.
Okay, there is a question about the Doctoral INPhINIT program. When will us be able to enter the website in order to apply to INPhINIT? In principle, you are already able to enter to the website and apply for this INPhINIT fellowship, retaining or incoming. You should be able to enter and to start your application. If you have any problems, please send us an email and we will try to help you to solve this problem, if any.
Yeah, okay. There is a question about postgraduate studies, fellowships. What should the statement of purpose include? You said mention a project, but I'm not sure how this applies for these studies. Okay, the statement of purpose is the more personal part of the application. The rest, you can have your degree, your certificates of language, of where you've done, and as the reference letters. But the statement of purpose is the page, the document on you really apply and you really explain why do you want this fellowship, what for do you want these fellowships, what are your backgrounds, and etc. There is a document of indications in the main application website, and for sure you can find some others recommendations and tips through internet, but this is the most personal part, that you have to convince the committees, the preselection panels and the committees that you deserve this fellowship. So I would advise to do this very carefully, to take a long time to give to other colleagues, other person to contact. Maybe if you know some other fellowship recipients, and ask them for their advice to write the better statement of purpose you can. Thank you.
There's another question for doctorate. Does the INPhINIT program have an appliance fee? I'm not sure I'm understanding well the question. If the question is regarding the enrollment fee, if it is an eligible cost within the fellowship, the answer is yes. Okay, the research cost category cover also the tuition fees. Okay, the enrollment fees for each year of the fellowship. Okay.
Okay, another question for Doctoral doctorate, to apply for 2 PhD positions, both in Life Science Discipline 4 of the incoming program, should I prepare 2 different statements of purpose? And if yes, are they evaluated individually? The answer is no. For the incoming frame, you have to select, you know that there is like a list of possible PhD positions. You have to select just one position, one PhD position, and you have to prepare your statement of purpose according to this position you have selected. Anyway, if you are exploring other alternatives, this will be like second or third options that you will not be able to select on the list, but you can explain that you are interested also in other options. You can explain it in the statement of purpose, but anyway, the preferred, the first one, the first choice is just one. I guess that if you are in the life science discipline for these other options you are considering are more or less in line with the first option. So I think that in one statement of purpose, you can explain that you're interested in more than one positions, even if your first choice is just one, of course.
We have another question asking for the language certificate, if it is necessary, in the case of studies that have been done in an English-speaking country. If you look at the details of the call, published in the call, in the doctorate call in the INPhINIT, you will see that you need to have a bachelor study of minimum 3 years in an English-speaking country, or a postgraduate study of minimum 2 years in an English-speaking country. Otherwise, you would have to, yes, provide us with their language certificates.
Well, there's another question for doctorate. When we apply, in the case of the infinite incoming fellows, do we apply for a specific research center at any point, or are we attribute to a specific center after the preselection step? Uh, well, in the application, in the studies to be pursued step, you have to choose one position of one specific research center or research unit among the one available, among the one offered, okay? And this will be your position, your assigned position, okay, during all the evaluation process. In case you are awarded a fellowship, you can change your mind. You can choose another position. After the publication of the results, we open another stage only for the incoming frame that we call the matching process. During this process, we put in contact the 35 selected candidates and all the potential host organizations, okay? And they have to reach an agreement. All the 35 fellows have to reach an agreement with one of the research centers for one of the PhD position offered, okay?
Yeah, there is a question about should the reference letter be in a special format? Okay, the reference letter will not be in a PDF format. So once you ask when you fill the fields of the reference letter section, an email will be sent to your referee with requirements and indications how to access the web page, the special web page for referees, and then they'll have to evaluate the candidate and write a reference letter in English. So there's a framework for the referees for the reference letter. It won't be in a PDF format or with a signature and date and so on. Okay, thank you.
We can link this answer from Carlos with another question. That is, do we get a notification when a referee has submitted a recommendation? And the answer is yes. Okay.
Yes, that's right.
I think that the person asking for the question about the appliance fee just sent us more information about he or her doubt. My question is if I have to pay to apply for a fellowship. I applied for a CMU dual degree program and we had to pay. No, not in our case. You don't have to pay anything to apply for one of our fellowship.
Sorry. Another question. If the bachelor's and master's degree were in English, is the language certificate still required? And the answer is that if the bachelor or the master's were in English and you want to take studies in English, you want to pursue studies in English, and the language of and English is an official language in the country where you took your bachelor's and master's studies, then you're exempt. The language certificate would not be required. So you have to. The condition is if you have some bachelor or a master in English and you want to pursue studies in English, and the bachelor studies or the master studies were taken in a country where English is the official language, then you don't have to submit the language certificate.
Okay, question for the doctorate program. If the PhD I want to do is offered by an eligible host university, but is not listed on your website, is it then not eligible for the fellowship? Okay, I imagine that you are referring to the infinite incoming program. So the host institutions that participate in the infinite incoming program have to have the distinction seal that Paula has explained before. During June, July, we contact all the research centers in Spain and Portugal that have the accreditation to invite them to participate as a potential host institution in the Doctoral Infinite Incoming program. Then these institutions that have this seal can participate or not as a host institution in each call. So it may happen that an institution has an accreditation, but for several reasons, maybe this year they do not want to participate as potential host institution, and then that is why it's not in the list. But definitely you have to choose a PhD position of a research center that it's in the list, because it's the only way to participate in the Doctoral Infinite Incoming Fellowships program.
If you were thinking about the retaining frame, as we have explained in the presentation, there are no specific positions there. So it would be the fellow that wins the fellowship. He will decide which center and which position he wants to do his PhD in. So there will be no restriction in the retaining frame.
Okay, there's a question for the postgraduate studies abroad program. If we are we required to upload an official letter of admission to the university? There is no answer before the deadline. Will the confirmation email do? Okay, the most common cases for candidates is they don't have an admission letter when the deadline comes. So you don't have to upload the admission letter in your candidacy, in your application. If you have it, in the event that you have it, you can allow it. But you have to upload what you have for your application, and no further documents will be added once you have sent your application. So it's probably that you have it after the deadline, so it won't be possible to add it after.
Someone asks, what about the language certificates that were taken long ago? There is no problem with that. You can upload them even if they were taken a long time ago. No problem with that in the postgraduate studies abroad program.
And also for the doctoral fellowships program, we also accept certificates that were taken a long time ago. Yes. Okay, there is a question related to a previous question I have answered about the list of the institutions participating in the Doctoral Infinite Fellowships program. The institute is in the list, but E3S Porto, but the specific PhD topic isn't listed. Okay, I understand now. No, it's not eligible. You have to choose among the list which is published. If there is a topic which is not in the list, is not possible to apply for it. Is a call restricted to the topics that have been designed, let's say, by the research centers, and these are the positions they are offering. Okay. If you have more questions about it, you can maybe write us an email and we will explore it a little bit.
There's another question. As for the Infinite program, could be any conflict of interest if the applicant has worked in the host institution previously? No. Actually, it is the case of many of our fellows. So there's no problem as long as the other requirements, the eligibility requirements are fulfilled. So no problem. Well, I think that there's no other question. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. As we said before, if you have any further doubt, query, you can send us an email and we will reply to you as soon as possible. Thank you again and have a nice day.